All week on Make Year Today, we've been paying it forward, and Carson's up this morning.
Yes! Well, guys, shortly after we moved here to the East Coast, I took Jackson, my then 5-year-old son, down to the bus stop. We did it for the very first time, and I realized something. The men and women who are responsible for our most precious cargo, our kids, are certainly not getting the recognition that they so deserve. So we decided to change that by honoring one of the many remarkable school bus drivers across this great country, 76-year-old Catherine Brutzman. Here you go. Every morning for the past 45 years, Catherine Brutzman, or Mrs. B as she's known around town,
I'm on my way to work to pick up my children.
Gets up at 4:30 in the morning, leaving the house by 6.
In the wintertime, these roads are a challenge.
Making sure the children of her rural community get to school safely.
We're here.
She's been driving so long, some of those first kids she drove are now grandparents.
Drove me on a school bus, and she also...
She did us on the bus too, and it was a pleasure to have her. Love you, Mrs. B.
Mrs. B was born and raised in Higganum, Connecticut, and started driving a bus when she was 31 years old.
In 1970, I had 4 young children of my own, and it was because I was allowed to take the children with me. It was a job that I could do.
The joy she gets from the kids she drives comes from her own personal loss. In 1979, her 17-year-old son died in a car accident. Her husband passed away from brain cancer 17 years later.
You don't learn anything if your life is easy and you have no problems, but you do learn from tragedy and hardship, if you choose to.
Through it all, she kept her spirits up and her family strong.
I think she is an awesome woman. I mean, she's been a fantastic role model, and if I turn out to be half the woman she is, it'll be an honor.
I love my Mary.
You've always been a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Making a special connection with everyone she meets.
She just doesn't realize what a great person she is and how much she does for people.
Mrs. B has logged more than 80,000 hours.
I have driven probably 1,700,000 miles, and that's a conservative estimate. I guess I've never thought of it as a career, but it's a way of life for me. And this is my last year. I am retiring, and it's going to be difficult.
But before she does, we wanted to thank her for a job well done. So we threw her a surprise retirement party. But that was only the beginning.
I, Liz Millardo, First Selectman of the Town of Haddam, Connecticut, do hereby declare Friday, December 11th, 2015 as Mrs. B Day.
All bus drivers will be off on Mrs. B Day.
And I felt honored to be a tiny part of this celebration. Hi, Catherine. Surprise! I'm so sorry I couldn't be there for your retirement party. I'm out in Los Angeles hosting The Voice, but I wanted to take a second, Catherine, to say congratulations. Here at Today, we want to pay it forward to you, but we want to do it in person. Catherine, your next stop is New York City.
All right, New York City.
And I can't wait to be there to see you, to give you a big hug, and personally congratulate you and tell you thank you.
Goodbye.
Now I can do it in person, see? Just like that. Mrs. B is here, everybody. How about that? First of all, a funny story. Christina, our booker here at the show, was trying to make you aware of this honor, and Mrs. B just kept deleting the message. We literally had to go through the CEO of the bus company to get to you. Why were you playing so hard to get?
I thought it was a prank call. I really did. You know, I looked at it and I thought, really? I don't think so. I just pushed the button.
Mrs. B, 45 years of driving, a perfect attendance, perfect driving record.
Yes.
When you look back, I mean, what sticks out? What are some highlights?
You know, I never thought about 45 years of driving, but I just, the people I've met, the relationship I have with the children, and I still have. You know, it's amazing to me that I go, our town is small, And I'll go to a store or the gas station, and someone now that has a gray beard goes, Mrs. B, Mrs. B. That means a lot.
You drove them. You just got a card from one of your students recently.
Yes, I did.
This is a guy named Phil who wrote you. Yeah,
yes,
you read it?
And I not only want to read it, but I want to, hopefully he's watching this morning. This young man I've driven since preschool, and we instantly bonded and continued all the way up through his life. I drove him on and off, and he is a terrific young man. He is one of the sweetest, gentlest, probably most well-mannered person I have ever met.
Wow.
Anyhow, I received this Wednesday, and he said, "Dear Mrs. B, someone finally figured out that you are the best bus driver in America. I already knew that you were. Congratulations," and it says, "Love, Phil." So this is very important to me.
Well, we wanted to say thank you to you, but also in doing that, recognize the men and women all across the country. As I did when I took my kid to the bus, I was like, so worried about my kid that first time, and I realized there's a driver, and we just take for granted that these drivers bring our children home safe every day. We're excited to see the kids, but we often overlook the men and women who are doing that work. So. We wanted to say, Catherine here loves to hike. You love the mountains. You love to be outdoors. We have a surprise for you. Thanks to our friends at JetBlue, we're going to fly you and a friend to Denver, Colorado. And you'll be swept away at the Gateway Canyons Resort and Spa. It's an inclusive 6 nights, 7-day stay. A small way for us to say thank you for taking care of the kids all these years.
So
I know you've never been to Colorado.
No, I haven't.
This is a beautiful place. We want to thank them and have a good time. Mrs. B, everybody.
Congratulations.
We'll be right back right after your local news and weather.